So today was my first Skype rehearsal with Jake for Taming of the Shrew. I tried to use a software called Super Tintin Skype Recorder. I tried to use this to record the rehearsal. Unfortunately it only recorded me, so yeah, the software failed a little. So that just shows one of the risks of using Skype is you can't actually record the session yourself on Skype. So next time I will externally film the rehearsal. So the first thing I decided to do during the rehearsal was to give Jake some detailed information about the character so that he can use this when creating movement and just to understand the piece better, really. So firstly, just like a little bit about the character. I started by giving the performer some context about Kate in the original play. Bianca is Kate's sister. Kate feels like kind of like she gets all the attention, she gets all the kind of like male interest and stuff. I then spoke to the performer about why his character in the original text is attracted to Kate in the first place. But he's also kind of attracted to her wealth and things like that. And I then spoke to the performer about some subtext and more inner workings and emotions of the character. Although he's kind of seen as a bad guy, I think from like the text he's actually probably going through just as much kind of sexism as what she has. Okay. I think he kind of like is trying to explore his like masculinity. Now that Jake had some detailed information about his character, I decided that it'd be a good idea to hot seat the character so that I could see how Jake had interpreted the information and it would help him to process the information as well. So the following is some of the questions that were asked to Jake. So we'll just hot seat your character. I'll ask you a few questions in character and you just give me the answers that you feel he would say. What do you look for in a woman?
In a woman, then I would look for intelligence.
Yeah.
I would look for like wealth and position as well. Mm-hmm. So like strong character and good looking. It would have to be good looking.
Would you say you're quite materialistic?
Yeah, like those things, they matter. They matter. They're very surface things for me.
Yeah. What do you think attracts you to Kate?
Definitely her wild side. It's like the first thing you notice. Mm-hmm. Her particular looks as well. And she's quite wealthy. And
do you see yourself as a strong person or a weak person?
Definitely a strong male, like an alpha male kind of character.
Awesome. So next I wanted to explore the performer's own thoughts and feelings on sexism. The piece will explore real accounts and therefore it could be useful to explore movement from the performer's thoughts and feelings. So now you as Jake, what are your views on sexism? Do you think it happens to men as well as females?
Yeah, no, I think that as modern as we get now, it's being recognised more, but men suffer just as much. I think now, the more it seems to be that the stronger the voice of the woman is, there seems to be a point where the best way to go is to weaken the voice of the man as opposed to just having an equal voice altogether.
Yeah.
Not saying that like everyone does that, but you know, I mean myself personally, I don't personally identify with sexualistic thoughts. Gender never comes into my mind. I never think, oh, this is a man's thing, this is a woman's thing. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I never like shun people for their sex either. Yeah. And I think that's what happens. Like sometimes you can start off with good intentions and then it turns negative.
Yeah, definitely. So as part of Rehearsal on Skype and YouTube, I'm also exploring how the performer can work away from the director and away from the rehearsal room. So I decided to give the performer some homework to do for the next rehearsal. Bit of homework for you.
Okay.
So I would like you to create a movement phrase.
Right.
16 counts long. And I'd like it to be around kind of flirtation and around chatting up so kind of in a bar kind of situation. So
Yeah.
just some kind of physical theatre around that would
Take
be awesome.
quite a modern, contemporary.
Quite modern, quite contemporary, feel to it would be awesome. At the end of the rehearsal, I decided to get some feedback from the performer on what went well and what could have been better. How did you find rehearsing on Skype today?
Oh wow, I liked it actually. It's a really kind of modern way of doing it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't have to get dressed, which is brilliant.
That's definitely a bonus again.
Always a bonus, yeah. And the nature of the like the rehearsal, perfect for Skype. Like the hot seating sort of things that you don't need to. This is just as good as being in one another's company.
Yeah.
Excellent way of doing it.
What do you think are any kind of barriers or issues with rehearsing like this?
The only kind of barrier or sort of limitation would be if you were to start branching into perhaps movement work.
Yeah.
It would be quite difficult to have you so you could see every aspect of the rehearser, their movements or sort of
Yeah.
their movements and such.